the first question, brother. Do you have one word of love for Mother Earth?
Silence.
What for you is the root cause of global warming?
Global warming is a modern symptom of a kind of a warming of people's affliction, their craving, their greed, their inability to handle their suffering. So they run and they consume. So there's a crisis in our modern times. Maybe in the last 200-300 years we thought that the material comforts, the material progress, agriculture and more production, and that would bring us progress and innovation and more conveniences, more time, more happiness, more freedom. That it left behind a very important aspect, the spiritual progress. So we ran towards a more materialistic way of looking at the world, dividing it and seeing that it's just material things, stuff for us to consume, and we forgot the spirit, what we were doing to the earth. So in a way we saw the earth, the environment, the trees, the rocks, the minerals, the air, as just things for us to use and to take advantage of. So our ignorance that all those things, those elements, the minerals, the plants, the environment, the ocean, the air, is us. We became very human-centric. We saw animals not as living beings, but just meat for us to consume. So we produce more, and the whole meat industry is seen not as a kind of it's just material, you know, the cows, the pigs, the chickens, the many species that we consume, just material. So in a way, when we harm something like that, we are harming ourselves. When we lose respect for Mother Earth, Mother Nature, the animals, the plants, it's a crisis in our spirit because we cannot fill it up with material. The crisis in the human heart cannot be filled with things, ideas, but it can only be filled with the spiritual progress, growth. So the practice of coming back to oneself, to come in touch with yourself, to touch a deeper happiness that doesn't require an external element, material or anything else. It's an insight. That's the spiritual dimension, to come in touch with awe, with wonder. And when we can fill ourselves up with that kind of a spiritual food, spiritual energy, then the fulfillment is more true, more real, more healthy, more less damaging to ourselves and to others. We learn to live in moderation. We learn to, because we don't need much. When we feel fulfilled, we don't need to buy more or consume more or eat more and so on. So the global warming, what's happening with the climate, with, it's just, if you look at the history of temperature, history of development, progress, the growth of industries, agriculture, it goes very much, very, very interrelated. And I think the root cause, if you were to name it, is a kind of spiritual crisis. And what we are seeing with the earth, this kind of trying to rebalance, is also a spiritual crisis. Mother Earth is suffering. And in the next maybe 50, 100 years, we will feel the earth adjusting. And to see that that is just Mother Earth trying to take care of itself, to trying to rebalance. And some of us humans will suffer. Some civilizations, some parts of the world will suffer. And this is the reality of what we've done as a human species. So this is, but there is some adjustment we can do. Nothing is determined. So it is still possible for us to wake up and really look at what true happiness, what true freedom is, and to fill ourselves up with that. And so the need for things will reduce, the need for consumption and so on. And I think the moderation will naturally come. The overpopulation, the overdevelopment is because of inability to fill up the emptiness in ourselves, in our culture. So this is so our work is to bring that awakening in people, to see that there's another way, one that is more connected to the spirit of Mother Earth. So we learn to see ourselves as Mother Earth. What would she do? How would she turn on the faucet? How would she live her life? How would she spend her days, her year? And we can help other people do that along the way. So it's it doesn't, just because it's happening doesn't mean you stay inactive. It's like health. You're not healthy. You're unhealthy in your body, and your body is gonna die. It's gonna go back to the earth. But it doesn't mean you don't live healthily. You do every day. You still live health with the womb, with the healing, and each day the healing moves forward. So the earth is like that. Just because there are symptoms, there are wounds, there's suffering, doesn't mean you stay inactive. You still participate, but you do it in a more healthy way, a more spiritual way.
And brother, there's a lot of young people. They love the earth so much, but sometimes they are overwhelmed by despair. They think, what can I do? I mean, with 7 billion people on the earth, 10 billion in 2050, with the patterns that we see, what can young people of today do?
They need to learn how to take care of their suffering, their despair, their sadness, their anger, their frustration, that you are the Mother Earth. So to take care of yourself is also to take care of Mother Earth. So Mother Earth is not out there as a tree environment. It is the carrot and how you eat the carrot. It is how you take care of your body, how you move, how you hold something with less tension, how you carry yourself, how you shut the door. Mother Earth is shutting the door. So how you slam the door is exactly the kind of energy that is being done to the Mother Earth. So how you take care of yourself and how you live and how you're kind to yourself, how to relax, how to smile more, have fun, celebrate. So Mother Earth is also in wonder right now, and are you available to enjoy it? So Mother Earth is not just crying and in pain. Mother Earth is also telling us, like, wow, you're alive. Every day the sunrise, have you seen it lately? Mother Earth is in the child smiling. Do you have time to play with the child? So it's not just the suffering and the symptom and the global warming. It's at the same time, Mother Earth is celebrating and welcoming you every day. But you're so too caught up with what is wrong with the planet and the human species that you cannot see that actually those two can happen at the same time. You can have suffering, pain, but you can have also tears of joy, laughter of wonder, you see? So the way we conduct our life, we have to begin to remove the distinction a little bit. That Mother Earth is out there. We are Mother Earth. Our mind is the mind of Mother Earth. So how we celebrate and how we enjoy our day, our life, it's a gift. You know, if you waste your life just grumping over what's wrong with the human species and our planet, you know, you move on. And there'll be many, many other on your path. So the path of awakening is to see that Mother Earth is not an environment out there that we have to save. Mother Earth is your body, your mind that you need to take care of. And when we move like that, it tells us that we have to take care of ourselves. So when you have a feeling of despair, of sadness, of anger, of depression, there are ways to take care of it. Taking a breath. I know Mother Earth is in me. Breathing out. I smile to Mother Earth. So you begin to nourish these other elements that are also Mother Earth. This is a daily practice. So it's not like you wait until some movement or some protest or some kind of action. You know, it's every day. You can do something for Mother Earth. Smile, wake up differently. And so this energy, if more of us continue to have, we can begin to affect the world. So don't underestimate the changing of your mind and how you move and look at strangers and how you project your thoughts. You know, you don't produce more toxic thoughts out and inward to yourself. So you're not only, polluting the environment, but you're polluting your own body, which is Mother Earth. So these feelings of ill feelings is toxic for you and for Mother Earth. So it doesn't help. So a bodhisattva is someone who knows how to take care of their toxin. They manage it, maintain it. Don't let it spread. In fact, they learn how to transform it, like the mud into a lotus. You see? So your body is Mother Earth. Take a look at that. So how you move and how you walk each step. People are so involved with, saving Mother Earth, but look how they are stepping on Mother Earth. A lot of violence, a lot of rushing, a lot of restlessness. So, Mother Earth is in your footsteps. So how you walk shows your reverence and your love for Mother Earth. So with each step, and don't underestimate. If you cannot do the small little things, don't even think about the big movement. If you don't know how to take care of yourself each moment, each day, the path, you cannot last. So, to lay each brick gently, this is the path. So don't underestimate. You might be one, but at least Mother Earth through you is healthy, happy, in wonder, enjoying. Of course, there's like a million others are in living differently, but at least you've saved Mother Earth in yourself. You've changed the way you look at things. And you're no longer afraid of these feelings, these frustrations, afraid of suffering, because you know how to embrace it, heal it, look into it, understand it, accept it, and it can be turned into lotus flower. So all these toxic things can be transformed.
We have a lay friend practitioner, Eddie, in Yorkshire.
Yes.
He knows how to take care of himself, but at the same time he's protesting against fracking.
Yes.
What would you say to him?
Yes.
What to do? How to act?
Again, when you're at the front of the line, it's very easy to confront and to think that we're against something. But it's just ourselves. So there's no side. So we have to begin to see that it's more circular and not. So usually when you're at the front of the line, there's a lot of anger and a lot of discrimination, because we see that there's the other side, the enemy. But in fact, they are also the victim of our own system that we support. And so we have to really maintain that insight, that there is no enemy. It is also us. We have also been angry. We've also lived and made choices in ignorance. So with that, we produce an energy of compassion and love. So when people who are at the front of the line, to maintain that non-discrimination, the source of compassion and love, is very difficult. So we need to find time if you're in places like that. And Eddie's in a place right now is very hot. So your personal practice, you have to up a notch. To sit more regularly, have more time to take care of yourself. Because we are creatures of habits, and we will say and do things that are destructive. So don't think that they are doing things that are destructive. We will do the same if we don't know how to take care of ourselves. So nourishing that insight of wholeness. There's no black and white. Don't make a front, make a circle. That way there's no one to fight. It is us. That is the insight of interbeing. And this is the liberating insight that Thai has used during the Vietnam War. There's no north and no south. We are all planetary earthlings, and we are suffering because we don't know. So we begin to see we, not as a nation, not as a group of people, but we as Earth. And that insight will at least not produce hate and anger and things. When there's strong emotion, come back, take care of it, because it's very destructive. And you cannot, take away toxin with more toxin. Producing that will only make them not transform, see? So we can inspire them by our way of being there. But we do need to be there, but being there in the right way. Peaceful, say what needs to be said using loving speech, listen to their side, try to understand. And our ability to do that will have a chance for them to maybe transform. So we turn the mud into lotuses. We don't get rid of the mud, but we give opportunities for us to mix. Because so there's no fear. Just go in there and say, hey, I love you guys, man. Let's sit down and have a drink. Of course, have tea, alcohol doesn't help. So, anyway, clear mind, yeah. So, yeah, so few brothers and sisters are going there to support that energy, that spirit, into being, no enemies. Just going there, sitting, walking, eating.
We love the frackers, we love the police, we love everybody.
Yeah, some people not accept that. They move from anger and they want to punish and they want to prove a point and so on. But you can see the history doesn't work so well. You know, you can incite more anger, more suspicion, more doubt, and eventually it looks like you're making progress, but in the end it will kill you. And this is, you look at history, it works like that. You cannot, use anger to against anger, violence against violence. I think we all know, but we are habitually trained to think otherwise because of the way we've been educated and raised in our society. Justice, like that. But it doesn't have much future. Just makes more prisons. That's all.
And if, brother, you have been living in LA, you were an architect. If I give you the words hurrying, restlessness, screen time, fear, consumption, which is more touching you or saying something to you?
Probably loneliness. When you live in the city, there's a lot of people. And you do what you do 9 to 5. Yeah, it's you go out and you party, you go to restaurants, nice. These things doesn't fill you spiritually. So eventually the emptiness inside you, people don't understand. So it's a kind of, I call it urban angst, And I experienced this a few times, like driving on the freeway and feeling quite lonely, even though you're among so many cars in gridlock. There's something in the inside and you don't feel, there's nothing in society that feels that. You can keep going, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday, And I went to the temple once in a while, but that didn't help me. So what I was lacking is a kind of way of taking care of this feeling of loneliness, to fill it up with something else. Like something more meaningful that has nothing to do with the external world. It's more about understanding and growth, and it's a kind of something that a human being, we have this need. Maybe it's in our primary habit of curiosity and survival, this need for being fulfilled, one with wonder, with miracles, with magic. I think humans, we are gifted with that, but it also makes us suffer when those things are not filled. So we try to look it in others, and so in the city I remember driving up in the canyon and looking down the city, and just feeling, needing, to have that filled, but it doesn't get filled. Those are the toughest moments for me. Anger and stuff, you express it. Restlessness, you fill it up Friday night, Saturday night, Those things you can, But loneliness is the dark one,
And it goes along probably with the feeling of separation.
Yes, yeah. When you live with a lot of people, if you don't feel connected to them, you can feel very isolated. And the same thing with the internet, People have a lot of friends and stuff, and people likes and all that, but eventually You're still in your room with a computer and a screen, but you're not having human heart-to-heart contact. That's what I was lacking, a kind of deep communion with human beings and with nature. So I didn't learn that. No one taught me, so I think I was a kind of victim to that kind of inability or not having the skills to connect with self. So when I came in touch with meditation, I think that I began to find ways to fulfill that spiritual void. And my way of looking at things changed, and begin to have new, different ways of looking at the purpose of life, the meaning of our life. So those things, when they start to, be clearer and more rich, then the other stuff starts to the kind of daily concern. It just doesn't bother me as much. So, yeah.
And brother, what is the most precious teaching you have from Thai related to Mother Earth?
Learning to drink tea mindfully. I do that every day. Lighting a candle and an incense. That has become my ritual for cultivating Mother Earth in me. And Thai drinks tea quite often, during Dharma talks and so on. And I was able to be near him and around him when he did drink tea. And I was just very inspired to see that he's very consistent. When he drinks tea, he's really drinking tea, it's very sacred, Yeah, so I was very impressed with that. So now, no matter what he's doing, whatever, even at the airport or whatever, when he grabs that cup of tea, it's just, I remember just trying to catch him when he's 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 always he drinks the tea really like a sacred act, So for me, I'm cultivating that simple act and keeping it regular when I drink tea is, so I try to tie alive in me and Mother Earth in me, and to see the water comes from the air, the sky, the rain, the river. The whole ancestor, the magic of water. You just contemplate on, wow, incredible what water does for us. You say, oh, water is necessary for life, but that stuff, it can go and it becomes ice, it can wash and make things clean. It's dirty, it doesn't care. It's clean, it's perfume, it's clear, it's muddy, it doesn't, it's just water. It doesn't. There's a lot of wisdom in a cup of tea. And so for me, that is the wisdom of Mother Earth. So these kind of elements, just we have time to regularly interact with it, with a cup of tea, with water, with Mother Earth. It's just the depth of your life becomes more and more. So for me, it's an ongoing maintenance to take care of it. So it's not like you have an insight, oh, water is Mother Earth, water is in me, but, you know, what do you do every day, you know? So when I take a shower, when I brush my teeth, so drinking tea is somehow kind of penetrated to these other elements. But I enjoy drinking tea, and when I drink it, I feel Thai alive in me. He's smiling, and you know, because I learned that from him. And I didn't drink tea before I came to Plum Village, you know. I drank coffee, but they're like, you know, buffalo cups, you know. But here you drinking a small little thing, and there's a reason why it's small. It's just you take your time. So our culture of drinking tea is super this, super that, you know. But we don't really enjoy it. We just take it down as if it's just material, you know. And you can come up with all these great names for tea and stuff, but you don't know how to drink it. It's just a commodity, you know. A simple cup of tea can change the way you move through the day. So before sitting meditation, before even on a lazy day, I wake up and light a candle, some incense, and enjoy a cup of tea with my teacher and Mother Earth. That's one of my things I receive from Thai. Not just a teaching, but it's a living teaching. Yeah.
Beautiful. There's two questions that came up. I don't know, I just follow my intuition. You already touched a little bit on it. You talked about suffering of the earth. Here there's 550 young people now in this retreat, and suffering comes up in them once in a while. Actually, in most of them. I have listened to them. What you advise them to do when they have strong emotions coming up, whatever emotions and coming from whatever place.
Yeah, the emotions, sadness, anger, these strong emotions. Young people, we were never taught how to take care of our suffering. That's the basic. You know, in school you don't learn how to do that. And if you're lucky, you learn it from your parents. But actually, they were the model of how not to take care of your suffering. More looking at my own growing up. So that is the root of it, that people don't know how to take care of their suffering and to look at it and find its cause. So it's very basic. So there's a source of where all these emotions are coming from. Your emptiness, your loneliness, your judgment, your trauma. So these things, through mindfulness and through stopping and embracing and understanding it, is the way out. So the way out is the way in. The way out of suffering is to touch suffering. Don't be afraid of it. And suffering can be a very good element for our transformation and healing. So it's not like suffering has nothing to do with our healing. We need the suffering and to hold it and to understand it. And through that, our humanity, our wholeness comes, because there's a part of us we want, and that is very discriminative. And so learning how to suffer, we suffer less. That is the magic. You don't need to get rid of all suffering. You don't need to get rid of all wounds. You can be healthy with a wound. You can be happy with a suffering. That is what people cannot believe, because they don't know how to do it. There is the way to do it. I'm suffering, but I am not reacting. I'm not judging. So at that moment, I'm also at peace and happy with my suffering. Same time. You don't need to go, okay, now the suffering is done, I can be happy. In fact, the suffering can be the greatest teacher. So learning how to suffer, learning how to be with your anger, with your strong emotion is the first step. Stopping and recognizing, embracing, like a mother with a child. Very important step. And from that, healing is possible. The restlessness, the discrimination, the pushing, the denying is a way of picking at the wound, at the suffering, or suppressing it and boxing it and tying it into a knot. And what does that produce? More suffering. You see it in the way you behave, the way you carry yourself, the way you react, the way you speak. And so only when you can stop, recognize, embrace, calm, be gentle, that the possibility of understanding, of loosening of the knot, of healing, of stop bleeding is possible. So not picking, and not making more knots. Yeah? Stop. And slowly you know how to untie the knot. You know why the baby is crying. You know what to do not to pick at your wounds and keep making it bleed. Being calm is like providing a healthy environment so that the healing will happen. So suffering is a very important element to play, and we don't accept that. We want to get rid of it. I don't want the mud, I just want the lotus. You look at nature, you look at the world, you look at anything you find pure by itself? No, actually they're all very related, interconnected. The idea of like something pure and happy and absolutely like without suffering is just your mind. And so you have to really have time to see that, because we are fueled by the media, the movies and so on, our Facebook and so on. We think that there's something kind of like a world or a place or a state of being where it's like happy, joyful or peaceful without suffering. That is an illusion. And so we are no longer afraid of suffering when it comes. No longer afraid when our emotion comes. And slowly you'll find that the pattern, because slowly it happens less. It doesn't rise up. And some suffering don't rise up anymore. Because it's healed and the knot is untied. And you're mindful not to tie it anymore. Your anger towards someone, once you understand the person, you understand why this has happened, you don't blame them. You don't even have to forgive them. It's just because you're understanding the common suffering that we're in, that compassion is born. So compassion, there's no forgiveness. You don't need it. Just pure, true understanding and connecting to that, there is peace. No more knots. So the suffering is very needed for compassion. In fact, compassion is built on suffering. Happiness, peace, but compassion is the stuff that makes it juicy and rich. It is suffering. I love you. Yeah, it's joyful, peaceful, I accept you, you're a wonderful person, but like, I feel for you. I'm one with you. I am compassioning with you. That requires pain. If you have time to look into compassion, the source of it is pain and suffering. And that feeling is a very wonderful feeling, to feel very connected and whole, and is really healing for us too. So Mother Earth, to have time to sit and feel her pain, then we can cultivate that kind of way of being in our own lives, and how we look at human beings, how we look at the plant, the rocks. It's hard for us to throw a rock violently after that. So people young people, they need to know how to take care of the suffering. One aspect. And the other is to generate joy and happiness. Yes, you have some suffering, but you can also have joy and happiness. It doesn't have to have one without the other. They go together. And that is another thing hard to... We believe that you cannot be happy until all our suffering is gone. That is an illusion. That is our discriminative, dualistic way of looking at things. So we need to cultivate it. So that right view needs to be nourished and to have time to look deeply at it. Try to find something that is completely like that, you know. It's very connected. You know, the left and the right, you know, you cannot separate the two. So it's the same thing with our misconception about happiness. So we can generate happiness, and that is a skill that can be developed. Many of us don't know how to do that. Breathing in. I know there are 500 people here with me. They're learning how to take care of their emotion, their pain. That thought right there made the present moment alive, you know, you see? That is right thinking. So you can cultivate that. You can bring a moment and say, nature around me, the trees. This place has been here for a long time before I even set foot on here. See, you can guide your thoughts to a place of well-being, of gratitude, of respect, of kindness. So these kind of wholesome thoughts, wholesome quality needs to be cultivated. And generating that is a training. Many of us are negative thinking, judging, criticizing. We beat ourselves and we beat other people because of wrong thinking. So this is so suffering and happiness can be together. So there's no idealized, you know, end of suffering, pure happiness. Those things are just illusion. There's no pure land. You know, there's only a place, an interbeing land, where happiness and suffering and compassion is present. And this is my true experience in living community. You know, not everybody is happy and the way that get along with you, you know, but you don't need them to get along with you, or you have to, you know, it's just okay, just like nature. You know, so you begin to not have ill feelings of them, and you know, you have kindness, you appreciate them. If they're not like you though, they're just, you know, different culture, it's fine. But you don't hold any ill thoughts, you see? So living in the community, they're like all these other elements, and once in a while there's misunderstanding, kind of anger or discrimination, and you let's look at it. You see, so it's not like you know, you don't have you know, people think, oh, Plum Village, you know, but you know, you live here a while and you see this stuff here, and people get upset and disillusioned because they have an idea that it's like this place is pure, it's only happiness. But when they see something else, they touch their own suffering inside, and they see it's like actually they're doing the same pattern. It's in their family. You know, so it's the reality of the world is not you know, black and white, dualistic, but more and more, we call it interconnected, interbeing. So this is a view that you need to cultivate. And that more that way of looking can help you deal with the real stuff into your daily life, your emotions, your feelings. So these kind of insights help you. So they're not just philosophical. These insights inform the way you walk, the way you behave, and you know, you don't avoid people. You embrace them. So these kind of what do you call it, spiritual insight. It makes our heart softer, open up. And that is Mother Earth opening up. That's what Mother Earth would want you as a human being to do for her. Is for you to be a human being and be the best. Yes, you have one arm. Yes, you're crippled. Yes, you have some illness, but you're enjoying what you've been given. You see, the tree, some of them are limb cut, some of them have scars, some of them are living off just one half of the side of a tree, and they're growing beautifully. They will not live as long, but they're enjoying while they're being a crooked half a tree. But there's some trees like that. I love contemplating them because they teach me so much. You don't have to be perfect. Mother Earth gave you that. And through cause and condition, a lightning or some rotting, that's what you're given, and you live with it. And you do the best with it. And they're producing leaves and fruits. I bow and take a pear from a tree that is like not perfect, and it is good. There's a lot of wisdom to learn in nature from Mother Earth.
Is there something, brother, that you want to share? You have shared a lot, but that we have not touched, something that we missed, share from the heart?
Yeah, for Mother Earth, the movement and climate change and stuff, I would add a little bit of joy and fun into it. Mother Earth is, sometimes it can get too serious. It is a serious matter. But, sea, bird, the Mother Earth, there's parts of she's also having fun and celebrating and living the wonder too. So we also need the nourishment, that the wellness, the goodness, the wonder that's happening as well. I think we need to emphasize that as well. So the wonder of waking up in the morning and smiling. You have 24 hours. So I would add in more enjoyment, living, more fun in your practice, in your work to help Mother Earth. Be a little crazy, be a more clown. Don't go to a protest and dress as clown and have juggling, It's like, why do we have to be angry at a protest, It's like, why not bring another element? For me, I would do it like that. I would there are so many other things to focus on too while we're doing that work. So we don't have to be so serious. I learned that from the children. I love being with the children, and they remind me that, adults are complicated. We become too complicated, and things could be, but we need to do the work. We need to help waken the people wherever it needs to be, but do it with that energy. So that's, for me, that's what I bring to my practice, and I bring to the community. It's like the craziness a little bit, don't be so predictable.
And you find that craziness and joy in the wake-uppers here?
Yeah, there's a lot of people who get it. It's like, yeah, man, wonder, have fun, life, live, The day is for us to live. It's not for us to just, philosophize about the planet, the earth, and what our nature, the meaning. It's like, live it, dude. For me, that is very important as well. It is serious, but we don't have to be serious. Right? That's like someone said that once. And I think that's true, because we also need to be nourished while we do our work, or else it's just you burn out and you become very negative, and you don't last very long. So that's that's what I would add to it. Bring some fun, joy, and spontaneity. Don't be so predictable. We're boring, you know. Yeah,
It's an invitation to live life fully.
yeah, that's right. Nature is very unpredictable. It always surprises you, you know.
Full of wonders.
Yeah.
Thank you, dear brother, for this another wonder sitting in front of me.
Yeah, well, thank you.